Before the movie started, my usually reserved CEO girlfriend suddenly called, saying she had a surprise for me and asked me to wait. Filled with anticipation, I agreed. But by the time the movie ended, I hadn't received my girlfriend's surprise. Instead, on the big screen at the movie theater, I saw a projected advertisement of her proposing to her male assistant in the adjacent screening room. Amidst 9,999 roses, my girlfriend knelt on one knee, holding the assistant's hand, her eyes filled with affection. After a long pause, she finally feigned a late arrival, handing me a bouquet of roses that even had footprints on them, asking if I liked them. I tossed them away and pointed at the proposal video on the screen, demanding an explanation, but she just shrugged it off. Dylan's online dating partner broke up with him this week. I was worried he'd do something reckless because of the breakup, so I pretended to propose to cheer him up. After all, he's a talent the company invested heavily in. If something happened to him, it would be a waste of the company's resources and effort. I'm also thinking about our future. Besides, didn't I prepare a surprise for you? Even though it's just one flower, it's the thought that counts. I didn't realize you were so vain. I'll order you as many roses as Dylan right now so you can post on social media and show off. How's that? I gave a cold laugh. No need. I don't want your flowers. Not just the flowers, but her. I didn't want her anymore either. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us where you're listening from in the comments. Watching me casually toss the roses into the trash can, my girlfriend Victoria froze, seemingly not expecting such a cold reception for a surprise she had rarely prepared for me. A moment later, Victoria seemed to recall something, impatiently pulling a check from her handbag. Ethan, I went out of my way to prepare a surprise for you, and you? Still being picky and ungrateful. It seems I've spoiled you rotten all these years. Don't think I don't know. You're just looking for an excuse to get money from me. I saw through your little playing hard to get tactics ages ago. Victoria spoke with an air of nonchalance, but her hand hesitated for a long time before she carefully wrote 2 digits on the check. Is $20 enough? It's enough for you to buy a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. You won't have to pick up other people's cigarette butts. You should be thrilled. I looked at the massive $20 check and couldn't help but let out a sarcastic laugh. Victoria had just chartered hundreds of helicopters for a citywide search just to find her assistant Dylan, who was threatening to jump from a building. To comfort the heartbroken Dylan, she had even emptied all the flower shops on a street to gather 9,999 roses to propose to him. Now, for just $20 for me, she had agonized for so long. It was as if she was giving me 20% of the company's shares, not $20. Love and lack of love truly are worlds apart. Coming back to my senses, I slapped away the check Victoria was offering, a sarcastic smile playing on my lips. No need. Consider it my wedding gift contribution for you and Dylan. At this, Victoria's face darkened. You're being so petty-minded, aren't you? I just comforted him a little. It's not like I actually married him. And here I thought Dylan went out of his way to bring you a bouquet as an apology, but you show no gratitude at all. With such a small-minded attitude, no wonder you've had the worst performance in the company this past year. Your commission for this quarter is 0. Go reflect on yourself. Victoria glanced at her phone and rushed off without a single explanation. But I noticed she was texting Dylan. If it were before, I would have rushed to stop her and demand an explanation from Victoria. But now, watching her leave, I felt a strange sense of calm, even relief, as if a long-held restraint had vanished. Just as I was about to leave, my phone suddenly received a photo from Dylan. The picture showed 2 movie tickets for a couple's seat in the back row, for a showing in 2 hours. Ethan, what's it like to watch a romantic teen movie alone at the movie theater? Too bad I've never experienced it. Every time I open my mouth, Miss Victoria will drop whatever she's doing to come accompany me. I couldn't help but sneer. No wonder Victoria, usually so quick-tempered, had refrained from arguing with me earlier. She was rushing to see a movie with Dylan. Seeing that I had read his message but hadn't replied, Dylan sent another voice message. I heard you meticulously set up a venue for a proposal today. How many times have you proposed now? I just whimpered a little, and Ms. Victoria actively proposed to me. Can you even do it? Ever since Dylan joined the company a year ago, he had intentionally sabotaged my dates and proposals more than once. The first time, when I proposed at the Hot Springs Resort, he poured 100 pounds of laxatives into the bath, almost causing me to dehydrate from diarrhea. The second time, when I proposed at the wildlife park, he deliberately let a bear loose, allowing it to punch me, leaving me with a bloody head. This time, he even played the victim, forcing Victoria to propose to him herself. I couldn't be bothered with him and was about to block Dylan, but he directly posted on social media. It was a lengthy post, a short essay saying he only wanted to clear up misunderstandings with me and asking for my forgiveness. The accompanying image had all his mocking chat records with me deleted. It made it look like he was sincerely apologizing, but I was stubbornly holding a grudge and refusing to give him face. As expected, the comments section immediately exploded. Ms. Victoria kindly saved someone, and he's still putting on airs. For to be a team. He has such little generosity. What a hard time Victoria must be having, tolerating such a real turnoff of a man. I just scanned the profile pictures and recognized many familiar faces from the company. Ever since Victoria exceptionally hired Dylan and promoted him to a personal assistant with important responsibilities, my longtime colleagues, the opportunists, had all flocked to his side. Usually, when it came to Victoria's romantic life, they only dared to discuss it in private, but now they were speaking openly on social media, and their replies were remarkably uniform. It was obvious this was at Victoria's instruction, all to force me to apologize and admit my mistakes to her. In previous years, under such influence, I had once truly believed I was wrong and too petty-minded, even feeling that I had let down her expectations. But then, during my lunch break, I accidentally discovered another identical company group chat on a colleague's phone, except it was missing me. That's when I realized Victoria had been manipulating public opinion behind the scenes, forcing me to apologize to her. Coming back to my senses, I looked at the comments section, which had already reached 99 plus in less than a minute, and replied calmly, "Apologize for what? Victoria is already your fiancé. I should be wishing you both to have children soon." After posting the comment, I simply closed my phone screen, no longer bothering to look. I had just left the movie theater, and watching couples walk out after the movie ended, I couldn't help but tighten my grip on the engagement ring in my pocket. It's quite ironic. I've had this engagement ring for 5 years, but I've never had the chance to put it on Victoria's finger. Initially, Victoria said the company was just starting, and asked me to wait until it grew strong, promising we'd be together forever. Believing her, to get married sooner, I not only gave up my high-paying job at a major tech company but also brought a mature team to help her company develop rapidly. In these 5 years, the project proposals I've worked on late into the night alone could stack up into a small mountain. When the company secured funding and got on track, I proposed again, but Victoria claimed she had been worn out by work and wanted me to prove my sincerity with actual actions. Later, she even used this as an excuse, deliberately giving me the most difficult and demanding work to see if I'd get angry, and even intentionally pushed my Lily into the river, asking if I'd save her or Lily. Even when she flaked on our dates to spend time with Dylan, she claimed it was to prove my love for her. Until yesterday, when I helped Victoria take down a competitor, she finally said she'd give me another chance. As long as I could impress her, she would agree to officially tie the knot with me. For this, I woke up at 3 in the morning to book the movie theater, had people urgently set up a proposal site, and even meticulously edited our 10 years of dating into a movie. But she turned around and went to Dylan, not even stepping foot into the screening room. I used to believe Victoria's actions toward Dylan were out of a sense of responsibility. Now, I've come to realize she just stopped loving me a long time ago. It wasn't until my lips were cracked and bleeding that I remembered I hadn't had a single sip of water all day from being so busy. Instead of continuing to waste time on a fleeting relationship, it was better to fill my stomach. I went to a restaurant near the mall and ordered a bowl of noodles. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Lily, my sister, who was still undergoing treatment at the hospital. "Brother, has my condition improved? The doctor said they've stopped the medical fees and told me to pack my things and get discharged today." Hearing that, the beef noodle soup in my mouth instantly lost its flavor. Lily was diagnosed with leukemia a year ago. Victoria said she had connections at this hospital, which is why Lily was transferred here. Since the expenses were considerable, I completely forfeited my salary, hoping only that Victoria would give my sister the best medical treatment. I was still confused when Victoria sent me a message: "Your sister's condition isn't stable yet, is it? Go delete the comments now and explain everything to everyone and apologize, or you'll face the consequences." I clenched my fists. Victoria knew my parents died early in a car accident and that Lily and I depended on each other, so she had always taken good care of Lily. Once, when Lily visited the company, a client didn't hold the elevator for her, causing her hand to get caught in the elevator door. Victoria had gone to great lengths to target the other company, forcing them to fire and blacklist that person. Now, to force me to apologize to Dylan and help him regain face, she was willing to cut off my sister's medical fees, using Lily's life as leverage. The who once treated Lily and me as family had, after all, changed. I ignored her, instead forcing a smile to comfort my sister. "Don't worry, we're just moving you to a better hospital. I'm coming to pick you up now." Hanging up the phone, I floored the gas pedal and sped straight to the hospital. But just as I reached the ward door, I suddenly heard a burst of urgent crying. My heart clenched. As soon as I rushed into the ward, I saw Dylan pinching Lily's chin, forcefully shoving unpeeled eggs into her mouth. "Eggs are super nutritious. You're so sick, so have another one." Lily's mouth was already stuffed with 3 or 4 eggs. Her face was flushed, and she was coughing incessantly, but Dylan still showed no sign of stopping, grinning sinisterly, as if he wanted to choke her. My veins immediately bulged, and I yanked Dylan away. He, however, suddenly sneered, then conveniently tumbled to the floor. "Ethan, I just thought your sister was too weak, so I wanted her to eat more eggs to boost her health." I had no idea she hated eggs so much. No sooner had he finished speaking than Victoria rushed in, cradling Dylan with a heartbroken expression. She then turned to me, demanding fiercely, "Ethan, what are you causing trouble about now? Dylan felt bad for you, so he specially came to the hospital to visit and even peeled eggs for your sister himself to help her get nutrition. If you don't appreciate it, fine, but you actually laid a hand on him." I was about to retort when Lily suddenly started gasping for breath, large areas of her body breaking out in red rashes. I quickly called for a doctor. It wasn't until Lily was pushed into the operating room that Victoria remembered my sister was allergic to eggs. But even then, Victoria remained indifferent. "Dylan was also thinking about your sister's health. Who knew your sister had such a weak constitution and was even allergic to eggs? She just didn't have the good fortune to enjoy them." It seemed that in her heart, there was no longer a place for me or Lily. I couldn't be bothered to say another word to her and turned to check on my sister's condition. Lily was still under the effects of the anesthetic, sleeping soundly on the hospital bed. Fortunately, everything went smoothly, and the emergency treatment was timely, not worsening her condition. The doctor even proactively informed me that clinical trials in Norway had found a cure for Lily's leukemia. Looking at the red rashes on Lily's body, which hadn't completely faded, I took a deep breath, determined to take her to live abroad. Just as I walked out of the ward, Dylan suddenly sent me a photo of a key. "Ethan, sorry to bother you, but Ms. Victoria's office is all mine to use from now on. During work hours, please don't disturb us without permission, okay?" I immediately recognized it as Victoria's office key. It was Victoria's usual rule that no one was allowed to enter her office. The last time she had low blood sugar and fainted, I kindly rushed in to save her. When she woke up, she ped me, accusing me of invading her privacy, and immediately had a metal door reinstalled. It seemed she truly favored Dylan, going so far as to give him this key to appease him. However, I paid no attention and opened an email instead. It was a letter of intent for an overseas assignment sent to me by Mr. Thompson, an investor, a week ago. Because my technology had achieved groundbreaking results, Mr. Thompson had immediately recommended me to headquarters. I hadn't agreed initially, even planning to use the technology as an engagement gift to surprise Victoria and elevate her career. But there was no longer any need for that now. Looking at that email, this time I clicked agree without hesitation. After temporarily settling Lily at another hospital, I went directly to the company, ready to have the investor sign and stamp the overseas assignment written form. As soon as I arrived at the company, many colleagues started whispering when they saw me. "Isn't that Team Ethan? How does he have the nerve to come back after causing such a big mess? Maybe he's here to resign, his career is probably over. He's been with the company since it started, but after all these years, he's still just a team lead." Exactly, I heard he failed his promotion assessments over a dozen times, while assistant always passed instantly. No wonder Ms. Victoria doesn't think much of him. These remarks had once drained me physically and mentally. But now, I felt nothing. I went straight to Mr. Thompson and handed him the assignment form. The company owed its current success to his initial investment. Even Victoria's favorite understood this and never dared to overstep in front of him. Seeing this, Mr. Thompson nodded with satisfaction and quipped, "It's good that you've come around. Because of Victoria, you've been stagnant, wasting your abilities. Going abroad, free from her restraints, will be good for your development." I nodded, then turned to clear out my cubicle. My gaze fell upon that graduation photo we took, Victoria and I. Actually, Victoria and I were very much in love at the beginning. Since my parents died early, I had to take care of Lily even while I was still in school. While others were playing games in the dorm with the AC on, I was working part-time every minute. Once, when I was tutoring a child, I encountered a rogue parent who refused to pay. It was Victoria who helped me contact the school teachers to resolve the issue. I heard her grades weren't good, and she often failed courses, so to repay her, I often tutored her for free. Little by little, we got together. On the day I confessed, she not only didn't despise me for being poor but also specifically held my hand during a class meeting and introduced me to everyone as her academic boyfriend. From then on, I decided Victoria was my only one. But ever since Dylan appeared a year ago, everything changed. I remember it was the first time Victoria lied to me. She was clearly going to take care of a sick Dylan, but she lied and said she was in a meeting with a client. That night, I urged her to be mindful of boundaries, but she accused me of being too insecure and sensitive, claiming she was just showing normal care for a subordinate. Coming back to my senses, I shook my head, throwing the photo into the trash can, discarding years of emotional ties. After leaving the company, I planned to go home and pack my luggage, preparing to go abroad. But as soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I heard laughter from inside the house. "Dylan, you're dead if you drop me." It was Dylan Princess carrying Victoria and spinning her around. A group of people surrounded them, clapping and cheering. "All right, 3 more rounds. Go, Dylan, don't forget to interlock arms to drink a toast with your wife when you stop. These are all dares." I stood at the doorway and couldn't help but sneer. So, they were having a house party. Previously, when I moved into a new place and wanted to have a housewarming party with a few friends, Victoria had given me a look of disgust, saying I didn't understand the rules, the city wasn't the countryside, and you couldn't just bring anyone to the house. But now, with a house full of Dylan's cronies, she was reveling in it. After stopped, Victoria, still dizzy, jumped down and instinctively took Dylan's wine glass, skillfully interlocking arms to drink a toast with him. Instantly, the cheering around them grew louder, clapping and chanting, "Kiss! Kiss!" Victoria's face immediately flushed. Just as she was about to say something, the next moment, she met my gaze and froze. "You. What are you doing back?" Victoria seemed a little guilty, unconsciously asking a foolish question. I just gave a cold laugh. "What, did I disturb you and Dylan?" Victoria immediately bristled with anger. "Why are your thoughts so filthy? Everyone was just joking, and you're taking it seriously. And it's clearly still working hours, you left your post without permission. I think your bonus for this year should just be cancelled." It seemed she still didn't know I was going abroad for the assignment. Whatever. I didn't explain, going straight into the house to pack my luggage. Dylan's friends exchanged glances and sneered. "TSK, this guy's got some serious green tea moves. A grown man pulling a stunt like running away from home, playing hard to get. Is he planning to quit next?" Hearing this, Victoria, who was always concerned about her image, became even more furious. "Aren't you embarrassed enough already? If you keep acting out and threatening to leave, I'll break up with you." In the past, every time we argued, Victoria liked to use the threat of a breakup to force me to comply. But this time, I just nodded. "Okay." Victoria was instantly stunned. "What did you say?" I replied exasperatedly, "Didn't you want to break up?" "I agree. That way, you and Dylan won't have to secretly meet behind my back anymore." Victoria's face flushed crimson with anger at being exposed. Dylan, seizing the opportunity, pinched himself, forced out a few tears, and put on a dramatic, sorrowful act. "No, it's all my fault. I'll take my friends and leave right now. As long as..." But I didn't give him a chance to continue his performance, dragging my luggage and slamming the door shut. From behind the door, Dylan still pretended to try and stop me, but Victoria was unconcerned. "He's just sulking. It's not the first or second time. He'll be back soon." In the past, I, for the sake of this home, for the sake of this relationship, always chose to compromise under the persuasion of those around me, going home to apologize. But this time, she was wrong. I glanced at the afternoon flight ticket and clicked pay without hesitation. After everything was ready, Mr. Thompson contacted me to host a farewell dinner. Mr. Thompson had been a mentor to both the company and me, not only providing many resources but also teaching me a lot over the years. I naturally didn't refuse. But at the dinner, Victoria and Dylan showed up uninvited, blocking me outside and demanding, "I was wondering where you were hiding. Turns out you came to crash Mr. Thompson's dinner. Ethan, everyone says don't air our dirty laundry in public. What do you mean by coming to Mr. Thompson?" Are you trying to threaten me with the capital chain? Since she wouldn't believe anything I said, I naturally couldn't be bothered to explain anything to her, ignoring her and sitting directly next to Mr. Thompson. Seeing that I wasn't giving her face, Victoria gritted her teeth and deliberately flaunted her affection with Dylan at the dinner, at one moment personally serving him food, and at another intentionally picking up the wrong wine glass to drink a toast with him. I knew she was trying to provoke me, to make me break down and apologize. But I remained oblivious throughout, discussing international market trade in Norway with Mr. Thompson. Seeing that she was being ignored again, Victoria suddenly spoke up with a cold face. International trade? Some people are just overly ambitious and all talk. They can't even handle domestic work, yet they're constantly talking about the international market. Do they really think they're at corporate? Mr. Thompson, Ethan is just like this. Don't mind him. I'll have a good talk with him later. At this, Mr. Thompson looked surprised. Didn't Ethan tell you? Corporate has already approved his overseas assignment application, preparing to send him to Norway to lead a new team and expand into the international market. He's leaving this afternoon. No sooner had Mr. Thompson's words fallen than there was a crisp crack. The wine glass in Victoria's hand clattered to the smooth marble floor, shattering into countless pieces. Crimson wine, like a pool of glaring blood, splashed onto her white dress hem. Usually so particular about cleanliness, she seemed oblivious, staring intently at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. An overseas assignment? Too? Ethan, what's going on? Why do I know nothing about this? I twitched the corner of my mouth, my heart ice cold. Of course, she wouldn't know. After all, Victoria was busy comforting her heartbroken male assistant then, throwing a party with his cronies at our house. How would she know what was happening on my end? Seeing my silence, Victoria unconsciously adopted her regional demeanor, saying sharply, I don't agree. Expanding into the international market? With you? Ethan, don't you know your own capabilities? You're completely unqualified. Her voice was sharp, tinged with unconcealed disdain. Mr. Thompson, standing nearby, couldn't listen anymore. He gently put down his chopsticks, his gaze behind his glasses showing a hint of coldness. Ms. Victoria, Ethan's overseas assignment this time was guaranteed by me personally to headquarters. Moreover, headquarters approval process has long been completed, and the documents are already here. This matter, I'm afraid, is no longer up to you to agree or disagree. Mr. Thompson's words were like a resounding slap across Victoria's face. She was utterly dumbfounded, her complexion alternating between green and pale. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Headquarters approval? How could it pass? I know his resume inside out. He has no significant groundbreaking achievements to speak of. He must have falsified the documents. Ethan, to climb higher, you actually dared to forge documents. She mumbled to herself in a flustered state, as if she had gone mad. Dylan, seeing this, immediately seized the opportunity, putting on a heartbroken, objective bystander act. Ethan quickly apologized to Mr. Thompson and Victoria. It's still not too late to withdraw the application now. If finds out about this, not only you, but Mr. Thompson will also be implicated, and you'll be blacklisted by the entire industry. He and Victoria played off each other, as if I had truly committed some heinous crime. However, Mr. Thompson merely let out a cold laugh. Oh? Groundbreaking achievements? He slowly took a sip of his coffee, his gaze sweeping over Victoria and Dylan as if they were clowns. Don't you know that the algorithm technology report on international bulk cargo transactions Ethan submitted last month has already passed the national office's review? The private dining room was instantly filled with dead silence. Mr. Thompson paid no mind to their shocked gazes. He simply pulled out his tablet, opened a document, and gently pushed it to the center of the table. On the screen was a digital certificate issued by the national office. In the patent holder section, the name Ethan was clearly and startlingly visible. Victoria's pupils constricted sharply, and the faint concern on Dylan's face completely froze. Everyone present was astonished. Dylan was the first to react. The jealousy in his eyes almost erupted, but he forcibly suppressed it, replacing it with a righteous expression. Cyan, his finger pointing directly at me. Ethan, isn't what you're doing incredibly shady? How much has Victoria helped you with your work over the years? How many times has she promoted you? Now that you have an achievement, you don't say a word, then turn around and apply for an overseas assignment with the patent, leaving her alone in the country? His words were like a fuse, instantly igniting Victoria's fury. Blinded by jealousy and a sense of betrayal, she questioned me with red eyes. Yes. Why did you hide it from me? I looked at her indignant expression and found it utterly ridiculous. Hide it from you? I let out a soft laugh, though no amusement reached my eyes. This patent was originally a surprise I planned to give you at the movie theater. At my words, Victoria's body visibly trembled. But I didn't stop, my gaze slowly shifting to Dylan beside her, my tone as flat as if I were telling someone else's story. However, since you've already proposed to him, then this gift naturally has no reason to exist. In that moment, every word I spoke was like a knife, stripping away her last shred of dignity. Victoria's face turned beet red. In a fit of rage and humiliation, she openly threatened me, "Ethan, try to walk out that door today. Don't forget, your sister's medical fees are drawn from our joint account every month. If you dare to leave today, I'll cut off her medical fees tomorrow. Let's see which hospital in the entire city dares to admit her." She stared intently at me, a triumphant, menacing look on her face. She knew all my savings were in the account she controlled. She thought she had grasped my only weakness, that I couldn't leave her. But the next second, I just impassively pulled out my phone, unlocked it, opened an interface, and then turned the screen towards her. On the screen was a bank deposit notification message. Your account ending in 9527 received 1 million renminbi on July 1st at 14:30 p.s. Corporate special subsidy. I lift my eyes, meeting her horrified gaze, my voice calm and steady. Headquarters, after learning about my sister's situation, specially approved an advance of 6 months' salary and a special talent subsidy, totaling 1 million. So, Ms. Victoria, you don't need to trouble yourself. 1 million. The number exploded like a depth charge in the private dining room. Victoria's eyes, filled with horror, were fixed on my phone screen, as if she could burn a hole through the cold digits. After the shock, came an even deeper resentment and panic. She probably never imagined that her final leverage would be so casually overturned by me. After a long moment, her voice softened, tinged with a plea. "Ethan, we've been together for so many years. Just because I impulsively proposed to Dylan, you're leaving? I love you so much. How can you bear to throw away everything we have?" Victoria was playing the sympathy card again. Unfortunately, it was too late. I nodded, affirming her question. Yes. One word, clear and decisive. Truthfully, with or without Dylan, we would have reached this point eventually. Even if Dylan hadn't appeared, there would have been a Liam, a Robert, a Chris. The problem between us was never a third person. It was her, Victoria. She never understood what giving meant, she was only accustomed to taking. She took my decade of unwavering tolerance and compromise for granted. She treated my patience and love as capital she could squander at will. Now, the capital was gone, and she was panicking. Coming back to my senses, I raised my wrist and checked my watch. It's getting late, I need to pick my sister up from the hospital. Mr. Thompson, I'll take my leave now. With that, I put away my phone and turned to exit the suffocating private dining room. Don't you dare leave. Victoria lunged forward frantically, trying to grab my arm. Just then, a steady male voice rang out, carrying an unquestionable authority. "Ms. Victoria, have you caused enough trouble?" It was Mr. Thompson speaking. He had been silently observing the farce, but now he finally spoke, his eyes reflecting clear disappointment and displeasure. "If this continues and reaches the corporate board, how do you plan to explain yourself as regional? My investment, Mr. Thompson's investment, is not for you to pursue romance and suppress meritorious employees." Mr. Thompson's words were like a bucket of ice water poured over Victoria's head. She froze instantly, her face deathly pale. She knew how crucial Mr. Thompson's investment was to the regional branch. She also knew that offending Mr. Thompson meant she would definitely not pass muster with headquarters. She could only watch, unwillingly, as I walked past her. I gave Mr. Thompson a slight nod of acknowledgement. "Mr. Thompson, thank you." Mr. Thompson waved his hand and sighed. "Don't thank me. When I invested in your company, it was your technology that impressed me. With you gone, I'll soon look for an opportunity to sell my shares in this company." As he spoke, he patted my shoulder, his tone tinged with appreciation. "Keep up the good work, young man. Who knows, maybe we'll meet again in Norway someday." A warmth spread through my heart. I nodded solemnly again, then walked out of the private dining room without looking back. Behind me, there was dead silence. At the airport, my sister and I had completed all the procedures and were sitting in the VIP lounge. Lily rested peacefully on my shoulder, fast asleep. We were about to board. Suddenly, the phone in my pocket vibrated. I took it out. The name flashing on the screen was Victoria. Those two names that once made my heart race now only filled me with disgust. I watched it quietly for a few seconds. Then, with a gentle swipe of my finger, I hung up, blocked, and deleted her. Done in one swift motion. After doing all of that, I turned off my phone, looked out at the city lights, and let out a long, slow breath. Victoria, we're in. Ever seeing each other again. Meanwhile, Victoria listened to the beep. Beep of the busy signal from her phone, completely stunned. Ethan actually hung up? He dared to hang up on her? She defiantly redialed. The user you are dialing is temporarily unavailable. The cold, mechanical female voice was like a ruthless slap. He had blocked her. This is outrageous. Victoria shrieked, smashing her phone against the wall. The screen instantly shattered into pieces, just like her heart at that moment. An unprecedented sense of humiliation and rage swept over her entire body. Ethan, you're something else. Do you think everything's over just because you left? I'm telling you, no way. I'll make you realize that without me, you're nothing. I'll make sure you can't make it in Norway and come crawling back to beg me. Soon, Victoria, as if possessed, began to mobilize all her connections and resources, attempting to trip me up on my new project and create problems for me. She wanted to make me retreat in the face of difficulties, to make me regret it. However, a month passed. All the complaint letters she sent to headquarters were like stones sinking into the sea. Not only did headquarters not adopt any of her suggestions, but due to her repeated unreasonable demands, they sent her a stern warning email. On the other hand, without my technical support, several of Victoria's core projects in her regional branch experienced major errors one after another, and performance plummeted dramatically. In the conference room, the accusations from shareholders, the complaints from subordinates, and the pressure from headquarters all weighed down on her like towering mountains, making it hard for her to breathe. It was only then that she belatedly realized. It turned out that the man she had always looked down upon, stepped on, and treated as an accessory, was the true cornerstone of this company. It turned out he was truly that remarkable. Just as Victoria was feeling frantic, Dylan approached her again, his face filled with deep concern as he offered her advice. Vicky, don't be so sad. I think Ethan is just still holding a grudge. He definitely still has feelings for you. How about we go ahead with the wedding, make it grand and spectacular, let everyone know you're marrying me. When he sees you truly becoming someone else's bride, he'll surely be driven mad with jealousy. Then, he'll definitely come back interrupting the wedding. Interrupting the wedding? Those two words, like a ray of light, instantly illuminated Victoria's heart, which was on the brink of despair. That's right. Ethan had loved her for 10 years, how could he just stop loving her like that? He must be punishing her by leaving, forcing her to yield. As long as she acted more decisively, he wouldn't be able to hold out, he'd be the first to come back, apologize, and admit his mistake. Good, let's do it. In an instant, Victoria clutched at her last straw and immediately agreed to Dylan's proposal. Soon, the wedding was put on the agenda, and it was to be a lavish affair. The entire city's most exclusive hotel, the most high-profile media coverage, the most extravagant display. Victoria wanted the whole world to know that she, Victoria, was marrying Dylan. She even didn't hesitate to pull strings, doing everything she could to spread her and Dylan's wedding announcement to Norway, to every corner of headquarters. She wanted to provoke me, force me to show up. The day before the wedding, Victoria was triumphantly trying on her wedding dress when she suddenly received a call from a friend she had placed in headquarters. The voice on the other end of the line was excited and mysterious. Vicky, huge news. Someone from headquarters just booked the earliest flight here. I heard it was a last-minute decision, and they were in a hurry. Do you think? Could it be him? It's him. It must be him. Victoria's heart immediately pounded, and a massive wave of joy and triumph overwhelmed her. Ethan, you ultimately couldn't sit still any longer. You still lost. She seemed to envision Ethan appearing distraught at the wedding, kneeling to beg her to change her mind. The next day, at the wedding venue, guests gathered, and glasses clinked. Victoria stood on stage in her priceless custom wedding dress, her gaze constantly sweeping the entrance. But she waited and waited until the ceremony was about to begin, and that familiar figure never appeared. Just as she was about to lose patience, her secretary rushed over and whispered in her ear, "Ms. Victoria, the people from headquarters have arrived. They're here." A smile instantly bloomed on Victoria's lips. She adjusted her veil, straightened her back, ready to greet her defeated opponent with the most arrogant posture. She turned and looked towards the entrance. However, what appeared in her line of sight was not the travel-worn man she had expected. Instead, it was several stern-faced middle-aged men in black suits, exuding a sharp demeanor. The man at the head walked directly up to her, and under the gaze of all the guests, pulled out an ID from his pocket. The headquarters logo shone brightly. "We are from the headquarters committee." The man's voice was cold, devoid of emotion. "Ms. Victoria, we have received a whistleblower complaint alleging your involvement in embezzlement, tax evasion, and multiple counts of commercial bribery. Please come with us to the police station to cooperate with our further investigation." The man's identification seemed to burn into Victoria's eyes. The committee. Just 5 short words, but they left Victoria breathless for a moment. The entire wedding venue, the boisterous music and the guest chatter, seemed to have been muted at that instant. All eyes were fixed on the bride, dressed in a pure white wedding dress, but now on the verge of becoming a prisoner. "No. Impossible. You must be mistaken." Victoria's lips trembled, and her voice became sharp, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. I didn't do anything. This is a setup." The lead man remained expressionless, his gaze like looking at a lifeless object. "We don't joke around. All the evidence points to you. As for the source of the evidence..." The man paused, seemingly deliberately twisting the knife deeper, more cruelly. "The whistleblower, Ethan. Ethan." These 3 words, like a bolt of lightning striking Victoria's head, shattered all her illusions of luck and arrogance. "It's him? How could it be him? How could he have evidence? Listen to my explanation. It must be because I broke up with him, and he deliberately fabricated evidence to get revenge." Hearing this, the man calmly replied, "We are not concerned with that. As for the authenticity of the evidence, it all came from the texts and pictures your assistant, Dylan, sent when he provoked Mr. Ethan. He should know better than anyone." Hearing that it was those chat records Dylan had sent, Victoria froze on the spot. She had always been fully aware of this, and had even enjoyed it. After all, the more Dylan provoked, the more Ethan would care about her, and the more he would take the initiative to apologize and admit his mistake. So, she had kept silent all along. And, to take credit, had specifically sent her screenshots of how he had progressively provoked Ethan with his words, how he had flaunted his victory in their chat. What did he say back then? "Vicky, look, I angered him so much he couldn't speak. That loser, that's all he's capable of. After we get married, I'll send these to him again, to make him give up completely." The next moment, Victoria whirled around, her perfectly made-up face contorted with extreme fury. Dylan, you beast. Get out here." Lifting her expensive skirt, she charged like a madwoman towards the groomsmen's table. But the seat where the man who should have been standing there, receiving everyone's blessings, was empty. Lon was gone. He ran. Just as she was scheming and plotting for their future, he had made off with all the liquid assets from her company accounts and fled. Buzz. At that very moment, outside the wedding hall, sirens sounded, growing louder as they approached. All the guests instinctively parted to make way. Several police officers in uniform, their faces stern, walked in and headed straight for her. One of them produced a pair of cold handcuffs. "Ms. Victoria, the evidence is now conclusive. We formally inform you that you are under arrest." Click. A soft click. The cold metal clasped her wrists, which had once signed countless contracts, and had also countless times been raised to curse Ethan out directly. All the media she had invited, all their cameras and microphones, were now aimed at her. Flashbulbs fired wildly, documenting the most glorious and most humiliating moment of her life. Meanwhile, Oslo, Norway. Outside, snow fell everywhere. Inside, it was warm as spring. On the computer screen in front of me, a complex trade conversion algorithm model was running. My phone lit up. It was a message from Mr. Thompson, brief and to the point. "The dust has settled." A news link was attached below. I tapped on it. The headline was in bold black letters, "Business Victoria at wedding, involved May 9, fiancé Dylan with funds." The photo showed her in handcuffs, being escorted into a police car, looking utterly disheveled. I calmly closed the news page. Just as I put down my phone, another message popped up. It was Mr. Thompson's assistant. "Mr. Ethan, latest news. While fleeing, Dylan sped to avoid interception, lost control of his vehicle, drove off a cliff, and died on the spot." I stared at the words for a long time, not moving. After a long while, I picked up the coffee from the table and took a small sip. The warm liquid slid down my throat, and I let out a long sigh. Everything was over. A week later, an unknown video call suddenly popped up. I hesitated for a moment, but answered. The screen lit up. What appeared on the other end was Victoria's face, so haggard she was almost barely recognizable. Gone were her refined makeup and arrogant expression. She wore a gray prison uniform, with the cold white wall of an interrogation room as her background. When she saw me, she clung to the camera as if I were her only lifeline. Ethan. Her voice was hoarse, filled with tears and regret. Ethan, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. I was blinded by delusion. I shouldn't have betrayed you. I shouldn't have listened to Dylan's nonsense. Please. Please help me, okay? Write me a letter of support for leniency. If you forgive me, they can give me a reduced sentence. She was sobbing uncontrollably, humbling herself to the dust. Ethan, I'm begging you. For the sake of our 10 years together. If you get me out, I'll give you everything. The company, the money. I don't want anything. This is my only chance to call. I quietly watched her. Watching this once high and mighty woman now begging me like a dog. Then, I glanced at the top right corner of my phone. I gently spoke, interrupting her sobs. Oh, I'm sorry. My phone's about to die. Let's talk about it another time. Before she could react, with a gentle swipe of my finger, I hung up the video call. The screen instantly went dark. I placed the phone face down on the table, stood up, put on my jacket, and left the office to visit Lily at the hospital. In the hospital room, Lily's surgery had been very successful. She was now sleeping soundly, her complexion much rosier than before. The colleague who had come with me patted my shoulder. Who were you just on the phone with? Sounded pretty noisy on their end. I turned my head, facing the clean sunlight from the window, and a long-lost smile appeared on my face. Nothing. Just a lunatic. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your views, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.